Hello, welcome. In today's episode, we are going to be covering some queen and pawn endgames. Actually, queen versus pawn endgames. In this position, black is threatening to promote, and so we have to stop them. There are many ways to do that, but let me present to you the easiest solution, so you will be able to win these positions even under huge time scramble. Here we have to check the black king. We can do this by playing, for example, queen d8 or queen b4. I personally more like queen b4. Of course, queen d6 and other checks will also be winning. So let's start with this queen b4. Here after king d1, black is again trying to promote. Again, we are going to check queen d4. After king c2, queen e3, very cool move, protecting the e1 square, so black is unable to promote. Queen c1, again with the same motive, and here the very crucial queen d3. And after king c1, well, we are just simply grabbing a pawn and we are totally winning. And after king e1, we are able to bring our king one step closer to the action. After king f1 here, we are going to repeat the same process. Queen f3, and here we are going to bring this king again closer to this pawn. So this endgame is essentially won by maneuvering our queen in order to stop the black king on e1 square. And since the black pawn is unable to move because the king is blocking it, we are able to deliver our king to a3, as you can see. And in this position, we are going to simply checkmate the black king. Important note, this position is only winning if then black pawn is on B, E, D or G files. If the pawn would be, for example, on c2 or, for example, on h2, this is going to be a draw. And let me illustrate this in the following examples. You might ask, what are you talking about? How on earth this is a draw? You just showed me how to win this position. Well, actually, I didn't. Here, if you try the same approach, queen f4, king e1, queen e3, again, the black king is forced to hide, and you might be thinking, well, I'm just going to bring the king closer, here, and take the pawn and simply checkmate. How on earth this is any different? Here, black is able to play king g1, and you might say, okay, I go queen g3, just like you taught me. But here, black is able to go king h1, and you are unable to take the pawn because this is going to be a stalemate. And after something like queen h3, this is going to be a simple repetition. And you cannot go queen f3 because here we are just threatening to promote. And the same rule applies to the pawn on c2. Here, rather than on h1, the king would hide on a1, again leading to a stalemate. And now let's look what happens if the pawn is on h or a2. So now let's talk about the so-called rook pawns. If the pawn is on a2 or h2, this is going to be a total draw, simply because after queen g7, for example, black have king h1. And as you can see, after king c7, this is a stalemate. And you have absolutely no way to make progress with the white side. After something like this, again, black is threatening to promote. After something like this, again, black is threatening to promote. After this is going to be a stalemate again. So as you can see, with the pawn on h2 or on a2, this is going to be a total draw. Just important note why the queen is on d7, not on a8. Because if black will make some sort of stupid mistake, for example, they will go here, they will go with king f2, they are going to go queen h1, blocking the promotion square, and now we are going to simply bring this king here, grab this pawn, and win the game. And now let's talk about what happens if the pawn is on third rank rather than the second rank. Okay, so now let's see what happens if the pawn is on the third or sixth rank depending on the color. Here, this side with the queen will always win, no matter on what file. As you remember, the c file would be a draw if the pawn would be here. But in this position, after queen d5, king e2, queen c4, king d2, queen d4, so the same as in the first example, queen c2. We can just simply bring our king closer because there are no threat of promotions whatsoever. King b2, queen b4, and we are going to repeat this process again and again until we reach this position, and we are going to simply grab the pawn and checkmate the black king. And now let's look at the last examples. Example, what happens if the pawn is on the 6th or 3rd rank and on the rook files here or here. Okay, in this position, white is also able to win in a very smooth fashion. After queen g6, king h1, we have a very beautiful queen f5 targeting the pawn, and after h2, we are able to give a checkmate, and after king g2 protecting the pawn, we are going to play queen g4, and here, for example, after this, we are dropping a pawn, and after this, we are bringing our king one step closer, and here black is forced to keep this pawn away. After this is a simple winning position. As you can see, there are no stalemate streak. So that's all about the theory you need to know in the queen versus pawn endgames up to, I don't know, like 2000 on chess.com. If you enjoyed this video, please leave a like, subscribe and comment. If you have not understood something, write your problems in the comment. I'll try to help, and see you in the next one. Bye!